Over the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. Everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I'm proud to introduce you to Jean Saunders, founder and chief executive officer of Project Lifesaver International, the premier search and rescue program operated by public safety agencies that enables first responders to achieve the program's mission of bringing loved ones home. Mr. Saunders, there is nothing more important than securing the safety of a family member. So, why don't we start out by talking about the mission of Project Lifesaver International?
Okay. Well, the mission is primarily to enable public safety, sheriff, police, and fire that are charged with search and rescue in times of lost persons to locate quickly those who may wander and become lost due to a disorder such as a cognitive disorder, Alzheimer's, autism,
Mhm.
Down syndrome, or the like, for they are truly at risk and time is of the essence.
Yeah, so we're talking the truly vulnerable people, and not to suggest that any victim is not vulnerable, but because of a cognitive, excuse me, but because of a cognitive disorder, these individuals can be particularly vulnerable because they will be completely disoriented and unable to help law enforcement return them to safety. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
I remember, Mr. Saunders, when my late grandfather first started having the signs of diminished capacity, dementia. He did not reach Alzheimer's stage, but he did have a level of dementia. And we started to put things in place like locks from the inside with a key, make sure that he didn't have access to the car, that kinds of things. So you're talking about doing a whole heck of a lot more. Tell me a little bit more about Project Lifesaver International, because what we really want to do is emphasize just what a service you bring to the community, sir.
I don't believe the general public is aware of the magnitude of the wandering problem.
Okay.
But if you want to kind of get a touch of it, just go to any newspaper or look at some of your Facebook pages that are highlighting lost persons, people that have wandered off, Alzheimer's and autism due to a lack of cognability.
Mhm.
And it is a big problem for law enforcement because it takes so much time and manpower to
Mhm.
locate these persons because, as you alluded to earlier, they don't help you. They don't
Mhm.
even know how to help you because many times they don't realize they're lost, but they are. And the time that it takes to locate them is often too much because something befalls them of a tragic nature, however,
Mhm.
before we can locate them. We noticed more searches involving Alzheimer's patients. And at that time, we really were not aware of how to search for an Alzheimer's patient.
Mhm.
But many of these searches did not turn out well. Well, in the interim, the sheriff's office took over the search and rescue function, and I went along as a volunteer to head up the unit. We still had the same kind of situation. And it was during this time that I happened to come across a brochure which highlighted wildlife tracking. And it became a thought of mine to say, I think if we could do this for people,
Mhm.
it would certainly cut down the time it would take to find them. And we could bring them home safely because we knew from our past experience that time was not on our side. Alzheimer's
Mhm.
patient, if you don't find them in 24 hours, they're probably in dire straits. A child with autism is much, much less time. So I got with a manufacturer and said, this is what I'd like to do. We were able to develop some beta testing. There was nobody doing anything like this, so we invented it as we went along.
Mhm.
Then we started it within my city, Chesapeake. Well, after the first rescue, which took us a minute and a half for a dementia patient, the word started getting around. And I started getting calls from other jurisdictions, and they were saying, you know, that program you're doing, we'd certainly like to do it. So then I had to go into developing the training and the certifications and constantly improving the equipment. Uh, because, as I said earlier, this is a big problem and it's not going to get smaller. We're getting more dementia patients, more Alzheimer's patients, and more children with cognitive disorders that elope or wander. And we need to find them, and we need to find them quick.
Hmm. Yes, indeed. So, sir, tell me what methods you use to locate clients.
Well, we use what we call radio telemetry, and this is not a new technology. We just adapted it. This has been around since World War II. You may have seen some of the old spy movies where they're looking for German spies, and they've got the big loop antennas on top of a vehicle trying to locate the radio signal. Well, that's called radio direction finding. Well, basically, that's all we're doing. The transmitter, the wristband, has a radio transmitter in it. It sends out a signal on a predetermined frequency. We know what that frequency is. We have receivers that our personnel are trained to use. They can pick up that signal and then track to it and locate the person and bring them home.
But Jean, let me just ask, you know, as a parent, and my child is a teenager. He's 15. But this sounds like something that parents might be interested in for their little kids also.
Well, they probably would. However, we tried a pilot program with that, and the police and sheriffs and all got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They just weren't able to handle the volume. And the other thing was, unfortunately, we had some parents that did not follow the program's guidelines, and it became a babysitter for them. So the sheriffs and police quickly rejected that idea and wanted to keep it strictly for the cognitive disorders.
That makes sense. I understand that. Why don't you talk me a little bit through some of the training? What conditions do you train your staff or your team to recognize and actually understand?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, because not only do we train them in how to use the equipment, but they need a basic understanding of the disorders they're dealing with, such as Alzheimer's. How do you recognize it? How do you interact with them? Because many times finding them is only half the job. Now you've got to convince them to come home with you. And many of them, as you probably know from your background, can get belligerent or worse. So now you've got to learn these techniques, and you've got to learn how to deal with your and their safety in doing this. And children with autism, they provide unique challenges. How do you talk to them? How do you deal with them? How do you get them home safely?
Right. How do you even actually interact? Because I do know some children who are on the spectrum, depending on their level of autism, can't stand to be touched. So if you immediately try to put your arms around them or take their hand, that might be a signal that they will not react positively to. And so you're correct. You have to recognize the different disorders and the special needs that come with each one of them.
Absolutely. And this is the other part of the program, because when somebody's enrolled, these officers or deputies or firefighters are going to be searching for these people, actually go out and place this bracelet. So they get to meet the family, they get to meet the person that they're going to be dealing with, and learn more about them from the caregivers and the parents. All right, how do we deal with these? For instance, just as an example, I had one when I was actively doing searching that I knew that once I located him, all I had to do was say, let's go to McDonald's, and he was in the car.
Because you had established a relationship with the family, knowing the kinds of triggers that would make the client trust you immediately.
Yes, absolutely. And plus, you get to know the person and they get familiar with you. So it makes it a lot easier. It also makes it more personal.
Is this a similar technology that security companies use for things like LoJack and what they have in the cars, and then some of the other security features for, like I said, a child that might wander off, that kind of thing. Is it similar technology?
It is similar. Now, there are other technologies out there. Now, when you talk about LoJack and say tracking of a robbery merchandise, yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's similar, different frequencies. Now, there are other technologies, as I said, that are out there. We have tested these other technologies. We've used them. We've worked with them. We have found that what we use to be the most reliable technology there is for what we're doing.
Yes,
And
sir.
we've been doing it going on 22 years
Mm-hmm.
and made over 3,700 rescues without a failure.
See, that's what's impressive. And what's also doubly impressive is that you form partnerships across the country for Project Lifesaver. The law enforcement agencies are indeed your partner in this regard, or it would not work. So tell me what's involved with those partnerships, sir.
Well, basically, we become a consultant to them. First off, when they apply to the program, we will go and train them. We'll give them 2 to 3 days of training, part of it online and part of it out in the field on using the equipment, troubleshooting the equipment, how to deal with your clients and your caregivers, and methods to use if you don't immediately acquire a signal in order to get that signal. Once we do that, we leave. We are then, as I said earlier, they're consultants. If they need anything or they need other equipment, they contact us. We also send out a newsletter every month on new methods, new advances in our technology, things we've learned through advocacy groups and research on these disorders. And we also hold a conference once a year where we allow all these agencies to come in and share what they have learned over the years and some of the methods that they could use and have developed, which can make the other agencies even more efficient in what they're doing. And we bring in guest speakers from the disciplines such as autism, Down syndrome, Alzheimer's, to bring us up to date on what's going on in those disciplines and what do we need to know. Well, since we've started, our members have acquired 3,755 documented rescues. However, we know there's more than that because cops, sometimes when they get into the heat of things and get busy, they don't file the after action reports with us. And we learn quite often they will tell us about a rescue and we'll ask them, well, where's the after action report? Well, I just forgot to file it. So we know there's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean to me and to our staff? It means the program's working. We are providing protection for the community. We're providing an aid to the agencies so that they can do more in the community involvement and protect their community even more, especially in an area where these people, as we've said earlier, are so much at risk.
Sir, thank you so much just for laying out the project and the program. What's the one thing you'd like the viewer of this video feature to walk away with?
The one thing that I would like for them to walk away with is the fact that there is a program that will help in locating and protecting these at-risk individuals. And if they need it, they can contact us and we can direct them to the nearest department or agency that has it, or help them to develop the program in the area that they're in if it's not already there.
And Gene, let's be very clear. This is a vital service. So tell us, how does the general public contact Project Lifesaver?
Well, they can contact us through our website, projectlifesaver.org, and just go to the contact, or they can call us at 757-546-5502, and we'll be glad to work with them in any way possible to answer their questions or to help them establish the program or direct them to where one is.
We will certainly include that contact information in the course of this video. We really want to thank you, sir, for, again, what I consider to be a vital service to our communities and to the individuals that make up that community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to tell you about the program.